What's up, y'all? It's your girl EJ. Welcome back to the recap. Now, today we're going to be talking about the Black Hamptons Season 2, Episode 2. Let's get into it. Now, guys, just in case you are not familiar with the Black Hamptons, then make sure to go and check out all of my other reviews over episodes 1 through 4, as well as episode 1. Now, when we pick up on episode 2, Anthony is trying to kill the phones, y'all. So we talked about how he found out that the phones do not work. All of the phones, all 100,000 of these phones came in defective. So there is nothing that he can do. Now, we also talked about how Mike tried to warn him about Alexander Core, but he believes that this is just a myth. And, his biggest concern is just making sure that he gets this deal to go through. He just wants to get these phones fixed. He's not really worried about what he should be worried about, but Now we are seeing your girl Carolyn. She just had her little rendezvous with her little boo thing, Christopher, who's being played by Blue Kimball, y'all. Like, the dynamics between these two are just so interesting. I really enjoyed these two. I think Blue Kimball is a great addition to this cast as well. But she's kind of looking out at Anthony and she's just like, he's crazy. Now, we do learn that these two just spent 3 days locked up together. But Carolyn, like, look, enough is enough. This was great, but my boy's about to come back. You got to go. So we're also going to see that Karen, Sid's sister, is basically still feeding into this. I would check the phone because Anthony's phone is going to go off, and it's Vanessa sending him a text message. Now, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, that text message that she sent, talking about hooking up, which we know that she doesn't mean like hooking up, but just like they need to talk about business, and it's going to be at this hotel, but it's really at the hotel restaurant. But text messages can be misconstrued, and Karen is definitely pushing her sister to look at those text messages. And I feel like Sid is feeding into these insecurities of stuff that she literally has nothing to worry about. I'm like, you have never worried about this before. Why start feeding into this now? But it is what it is. So I'm going to assume that she did read the text message because of what happens later, because they don't show us her reading the text message in this scene. But when she show up at that restaurant a little bit later in the episode, that tells me all I need to know. Now, we are going to see that everybody is still hanging out on the boat. You got Vanessa and Malcolm, of course. They look like your typical married couple at this point, but these two are good at pretending, because I do feel like Vanessa really does care about Malcolm, but at the same time, she has to protect herself because she knows that Malcolm is really in love with Morgan, and he can't be his true self and be who he really wants to be with. Does he have love for Vanessa? Absolutely. I think that he does, but I think that he really wants to explore the relationship with Morgan, and that's who he truly wanted to be with, and that's where his heart really lied. So I don't know, these two, their relationship is just something else. We are gonna also see Tiana. She's still ducking and dodging Peter. He's still trying to call, he's still trying to get at her, but that's pretty much a done deal. So there's that. Peter definitely has a lot of anger issues. I see why he's a boxer, so that he can try to channel some of that energy and that anger, but I don't know. Peter is something else. Yeah. Now, we are going to also see that Martin hooked up with Adora, who was the artist. It looks like she's looking for a little bit something more, but I'm like, girl, y'all just like hooked up. Like, y'all literally just did the do and y'all just met. So I don't know exactly what you're looking for because you don't have any information about him. You don't know that he was just in a relationship. So this literally is a rebound. I guess if you want to call it a relationship, I don't know what you call it because they had like this whirlwind romance. I guess we'll call it a relationship. We'll call it a relationship. But my point is that you're wanting something from someone that literally just got out of a situation, but you don't know that because all you did was jump in bed with him, and now you're looking crazy because he says that he wants to keep it casual. Like, what did you think? Anywho. Yeah, so Bobby the Beast Boy is going to end up paying Peter's father a visit. He wants to come there to see Peter because you already know how it goes. If he can get to Peter because of his celebrity status, he knows that he can get him to sign that contract, probably without even reading the contract. He'll probably just blindly trust him because that's how it is. But Peter's dad is a whole different story. You know, the lieutenant is not trying to do that. He's like, look, the plan is for him to go to the Olympics, and then after the Olympics, we'll look at the pros. He didn't tell him like it was absolutely off the table. He just said, we'll think about it. But we all know that he really wasn't trying to think about it because he can see right through them. And the fact that they didn't want to let them think about it, the fact that they wanted them to sign that contract right then tells me everything I need to know. Because if you had true intentions, you wouldn't just want me to sign this contract. You would want me to have my lawyer look at this contract before I sign it. You would want to give me time, especially knowing that I already had a plan in motion and you're trying to change all of those plans. Now, Bobby Beast Boy, something ain't right with you and your little Don King wannabe manager. Like, no, I do not trust that at all. But we all know that Peter is not going to feel the same way. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that now because later on, Peter is going to find out about it. He's going to have the contract in his hand and everything. He's going to step to his daddy and be like, why you didn't tell me about this? And then he's going to think that it's such a great opportunity. And do you know who this is? Yada, 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 yada. But his daddy is trying to tell him like, no, this is not a good thing. And then his dad always uses the words we, we this. And at the end of the day, his dad has been right there. Maybe he's not the one fighting, but he's the one that's getting up and helping you train. He's the one that's making sure that you're good. He's the one who has your best interest at heart. So yeah, this is we at this point. But you know how I go. Peter gonna tell him he 23 years old. He don't need him to make these decisions, and he gonna go do what he gotta do. So the way I see it is that Peter's gonna get into this whack contract, and his dad is gonna end up having to try to help him out in some way, form, or fashion. He might even have to sell his soul in order to get one of the help from one of these Black Hampton people in order to get his son out of this contract. Now, I don't know. I'm just saying, they crazy at the Black Hamptons, but I'm just saying this is going to be crazy, and Peter's going to make a horrible decision. And Bobby the Beast Boy is definitely going to take advantage of this young man. And all he had to do was listen to his daddy, the person who's been there his entire life. I'm just saying. Okay, y'all. So Malcolm and Martin are actually still at it about that doggone painting because Malcolm is trying to get Martin to take the blame for, buying the $500,000 painting that he bought off of complete impulse, trying to outdo Everett. And I'm just thinking to myself, Everett is still living beyond his means, y'all, because we know that he ended up selling the property to the Brittons at the market value, right? Which was like 4 or 5 million. And you still out here trying to buy like these expensive paintings and all this stuff. Like, I know that Everett is doing the most, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother thing. So anyway, they end up having to tell Carolyn about the painting, and she goes in on them. But what's even more funny is that Martin is laughing because he thinks that his brother's gonna get, he's the one who did it, right? And she's like, you gonna pay for this pain. And she basically tells him that it's gonna come out of their bonuses. And he's like, why there? And she's like, because you should have stopped him from doing it. And I'm like, I don't know if he could have really stopped him, but it is what it is. But I thought that was an extremely funny part right there. Yeah, so let's talk about Jeffrey and Leslie a little bit. So first and foremost, we are going to see that Leslie is showing the house to Aries. Now, Aries done swindled his way into trying to just be in her presence, because we see that he's trying to get at her. He don't even care that she's married or whatnot. Now, what is interesting is that while she's showing the house, we are going to see that somebody else is going to pop up and say that the house has already been sold. And it looks like this white guy is actually trying to buy up all the properties in the Hamptons, as many as he can. Now, if you've been following the show, or even if you just read the title, then you know that the Black Hamptons are called the Black Hamptons for a reason. We learned in season 1 that they try to make sure that they are always selling the properties. It's important if they're going to sell that they sell to someone else of color, because they are trying to keep the Black Hamptons exactly what it is, Black, right? But Eli has been buying up all of this property because he thinks it's a good investment, yada, yada, yada. I'm just going to leave my comments on that to myself. But, let me know what y'all think down in the comments about that whole situation. Okay, so let's shift to Jeffrey a little bit because Jeffrey is still having a hard time trying to get his client, Moses Britton, Carolyn's husband, out. He's going to find out that the judge is going to tell him, like, look, some new evidence popped up, a complaining witness popped up, and this is where we're at with it, and you know what you have to do. So now he has to do more work, but Jeffrey is pretty persistent. Now, you can tell that this is all a facade because we know that Carolyn enlisted the help of Christopher's firm in order to try to slow down this process, because when it's all said and done, she needs time in order to execute whatever she's trying to execute. We're going to learn that I think she needed 30 days in order to pull off whatever she's trying to pull off, basically trying to keep the bank. Maybe at a certain time frame she'll be, full executor of the bank. I don't know exactly because they haven't said exactly what it is just yet. And I am doing my very, very best to not bring up any book stuff into these reviews. So I don't want to say, what it could be. So let's go ahead and talk about Mike and Anthony because we know that they have a little bit of a situation going on right now. So first and foremost, Mike is still trying to let him know that this is bigger than just these phones missing. We don't need to tell nobody. He doesn't want to tell Vanessa. He don't want to tell he don't want him to tell his wife. Like, he don't want nobody to know about the stuff that's going on. But most importantly, in the beginning, he wants to try to show Anthony that there really is something that is not right about Alexander Court and that they need to know who they're dealing with as they move forward. So he says that they're going to go out and have a meet with someone who's going to be able to shed a little bit of light on who Alexander Court is and what they could possibly be up against. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about that now too, since we already right here, because this was another crossover moment inside of the show as well. Now, it just so happens that his cousin happens to be LoJack. Now, guys, I will be doing a crossover video and I'll talk about it in a little bit more detail there. But his cousin is LoJack, and LoJack does seem to have his ear to the street. He knows a lot of different things. Now, of course, LoJack makes it known that he's not a snitch, and I'm like, dude, they not law enforcement or anything like that, so are you snitching? But we're not even gonna go there. But he does tell them, like, look, this is not somebody that you want to be in business with, and that you do not want to make him unhappy. He also lets him know, like, look, hey, he says he's on the straight and narrow, but he has ties to Russian mobs and all these underground European different people. So, like, real talk, he a criminal, like a real criminal. But Anthony is looking crazy, like, oh my goodness, like he can't believe it. But Mike had been trying to tell him, like, look, I don't think this is what we want. Like they are straight legit businessmen, and they thought they were going into business with a straight legit businessman. But we all know who Alexander Cora is. So I don't believe for 1 second that he's changed at all. I just think he got slowed down by the Duncan family, and that is what it is. But he is definitely trying to get back. So, anywho, after they find out all of that information, they are they don't know what to do, And like I said, Mike is like, look, we can't tell nobody. But Anthony doesn't like keeping things from his wife. He's like, no, we got to tell somebody, and we got to tell Vanessa because she's in business with us and she has to know. We can't put her in this situation. Now, meanwhile, while we're talking about Vanessa is waiting to meet up with Anthony about their business deal. But guess who shows up? Sydney. And then she acts a whole fool, y'all, about her husband. And she's like, I'm going to be your Sydney Tech representative, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, this just isn't becoming of this character because she's been such a strong, confident character. Listen, your man can only be taken if he want to be taken. And I don't care what nobody say about that. Like, one thing about it, you can say that somebody can entice or tempt, but come on now, let's just be real about it. If somebody want to do something, they gonna do something. If they don't want to do it, they not gonna do it. So why are we going through all of these extremes to keep Vanessa away from your husband? based on rumors, not based on facts, but based on stuff that you heard from a bunch of unmarried women sitting around cackling. I'm just saying. But anyway, and I ain't saying that she ain't what they said. I'm just saying that she don't know that. She don't know what it is. So anywho, all this does is fuel the fire for Vanessa. So after she go off on her, she acts just like a Britton. I mean, y'all, I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. You would think that she was a real Britton because she pulled a Carolyn move. She's like, look, okay, this what you want to do? I'm gonna call. She called in somebody. I don't know who she called, but she told them to bring their knives or something. I said, knives? Wait a minute, what? But anyway, I don't know what exactly they're bringing, but she was like, okay, I'm gonna have to keep you business while I try to do this business with your husband or whatever. And now she done made another enemy. Like, why? You didn't even have to do all of that. But it is what it is. Okay, y'all. So meanwhile, we are going to move on to Christopher. He's going to be meeting up with someone who has been helping him, which just happens to be another crossover. So we're going to run into Detroit. Now, Detroit, of course, is one of LC's associates, and he is a known criminal, okay? And it turns out he is the frat brother of Christopher, and he is also the nephew of the judge who, has been helping to slow Moses's release down. So he's just telling him, like, look, we gonna need you to try to hold this off for a little while. And he like, look, my uncle, he don't do illegal stuff. So I don't know how much longer we're gonna be able to hold this off. And he's like, look, just have him go on vacation to Bali somewhere. They got bad reception out there. Just have him take an extended vacation. And so this is their way of trying to slow down this whole situation. So here we go. I'm just like, really? Okay, Detroit. Okay, yeah. So the last little part that we're going to talk about is one of the biggest shockers of the entire episode, but I do kind of want to just take you through what went down. Now, we are going to see that Christopher is going to come over to see Carolyn to let her know the progression that has happened. Now, what we noticed is that Kimberly is going to place a phone inside of the bookcase, right? Now, initially, I was like, what is Kimberly doing? What is she up to? And so we're going to see, they're going to have a conversation. He's going to tell her that, it's been slowed down, yada, yada, yada. So basically they on tape incriminating themselves. They have their little kissy kiss and then he leaves. And then we're going to see Kimberly come back and get the recording, right? Now we're also going to see Jeffrey go and visit the prison where Moses is at. And Moses is telling him that he had to get a little insurance policy and that, it's not all what it seems because he knows that Carolyn is behind this, but that they're going to need some help and that he wants him to work with somebody. And he puts the name on a piece of paper, right? And then, as they're talking or whatever, we're going to see this person walk in. And lo and behold, it's Kimberly, y'all. So we should have known that Kimberly would be the one. She had to infiltrate and get as close to Carolyn as possible. This is one of the people that Carolyn trusts the most. Now, I know that most people who doing shady stuff don't trust everybody, but she does trust her quite a bit, and she is able to get closer to her than anyone else can get. Now, when she comes in, he's like, what are you doing here, Jeffrey? And she's like, I could be asking you the same question. And then she says, but, I'm here to see my father. And we get the shocking revelation that Kimberly is Moses's father. So that's where this episode ends at. And let me tell y'all, it is already getting heated. We already getting some revelations. We're getting these dope crossovers. I'm loving the Black Hamptons so far. Let me know what you think about the Black Hamptons. Go ahead and get the conversation started down below. What do you think about the revelation that Moses is actually Kimberly's father? How do you think this is all going to play out? What do you think about Jeffrey trying so hard to get Moses out? How do you think this is going to play out with Vanessa and Sid now at odds? and whoever she called in. What do you think that's all about? And should Mike and Anthony be worried about the business dealings that they're doing with Alexander Corey, y'all? So anyway, guys, if you like this video, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button, y'all. Share the video with someone. If you're new to my channel, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to your girl channel. Turn on the notifications so that you do not miss out on any of my future Black Hamptons content. Meanwhile, guys, YouTube says that you just might like this video next, so go ahead and take a look. Until next time, peace.
Keep them guessing when they ask about us. Don't give them no time, that's how we stay up.
How we up, but you stay down. Real nigga from the ad, about to pay out. Spending time, wind down, what is takeout? And when I'm in them walls, you feel it in your bones. I've been on the road, this choke that I hold on your soul got me making up for days out. Got you singing tones till you laid out. It feel like what we on never fade out.
Fade out, fade out. I let it ride when I usually would've rolled out. Baby say please and thank you cause your lover stayed down. I leave the past in the past, that's all done now. Show a little appreciation cause your lover stayed. You know I ain't pressed for fame. Niggas clout chasing, they all lames. Trust me when I say I'm still the same. They gon' understand it one day, yeah, yeah. Told him that I gave him life, he said, right. Now we can't leave from my side, oh my God.
You know I ain't chasing fame. You caught the vibe that I'm sending your way. You see that I'm still the same. Real one, I'ma never change my way. As long as I'm hitting it right and treating you right. You never leaving my side, you here for the ride.
Only for love, why your exes can't get enough. Man. They trying in line, they down on their luck. Keep them guessing when they ask about us. Don't pay them no mind, that's how we stay up. Niggas DM, don't know where to leave it. I post a pic, they comments be tweaking. Usually won't, but sometimes I read them. Leave them on red, I swear I can't please them all. But when it comes to you, I know how to handle that, boss. Even stay faithful while you was doing me wrong. I let it ride when I usually would've rolled out. Baby say please and thank you cause your lover stayed down. I leave the past in the past, that's all done now. So put that on me for my baby cause I always stay down. You know I ain't pressed for fame. Niggas clout chasing, they all lames. Trust me when I say I'm still the same. They gon' understand it one day, yeah, yeah. Told him that I gave him life, he said, right. Now we can't leave from my side, oh my God.
You know I ain't chasing fame. You caught the vibe that I'm sending your way. You see that I'm still the same. Real one, I'ma never change my way. As long as I'm hitting it right and treating you right. You never leaving my side, you in for the ride.